Okay, I think we are good to go. So good morning, good afternoon, and evening to all red teams. Thank you for joining us for this Stage 1 briefing for the Critical Infrastructure Security Showdown, or CISS. My name is Mark, and if you haven't already noticed, I am the one that has been sending you tons of emails and reminders, so I hope you have read them and follow through with the actions. So CISS is co-organized by the Digital and Intelligence Service and also iTrust, Center for Cybersecurity at SUTD, and supported by the following organizations on the right bottom side of the screen. And so without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite Military Expert 6, Joel Fong, to give his opening remarks. Joel, sir, please.
To the 2025 Critical Infrastructure Security Showdown, or CISS in short. Hi, I'm Joel from the Digital and Intelligence Service under Singapore's Ministry of Defence. We are proud to co-organize this 9th edition of the CISS together with iTrust from the Singapore University of Technology and Design. And we are delighted to have you with us here today. So over the past decade, we've seen more organizations integrating OT, or operational technology, into the IT environments in order to better automate their industrial processes. While this fusion of IT and OT definitely improves efficiency and productivity, however, it also expands our attack surface and creates more opportunities for attackers to strike. This can be seen in recent real-world conflicts, where numerous cyber attacks have specifically targeted OT systems, from water treatment facilities, power grids, to telecommunication systems and transportation networks. Such attacks can result in very severe and dire outcomes, ranging from destruction or critical operations to even fatal physical consequences. So these lessons serve as a grim reminder that our critical infrastructure must be a cyber defense priority. Against this global threat landscape, CISS stands as a premier international OT flagship competition. So we are fortunate to work with iTrust and guide teams around the world, representing government organizations, other sector entities, academic institutions to come together with a common cause for us to learn, understand, identify vulnerabilities in critical infrastructure systems. On a positive note, I'm happy to announce the return of the CISS finals. After receiving your valuable feedback from last year, we have decided to allow deserving teams to directly interact and complete challenge objectives on live testbeds. So the Stage 1 qualifiers acts as the pathway, right, to be able to earn a coveted spot in finals for the teams, for the opportunity to truly prove your knowledge and skills in being able to find vulnerabilities and be able to test the limitations of the defenses. So this brings me to the focus of today's briefing, which is our Stage 1 qualifiers. It's designed as an OT-centric capture the flag competition to test your abilities to solve various challenges related to critical infrastructure. Stage 1 will be held over a 48-hour period next week. We are delighted to have a total of 15 or 60 teams competing from various nations and systems. However, only the top 10 teams will advance to the finals will be held later in this week. So to clinch the top 10 spot in the finals, it's important that you pay attention to the next brief that will be delivered by Siddhant from iTrust. He'll be sharing some important details to help you in your Stage 1 qualifiers. So on behalf of the organizing team, I wish you all the best. Over to you, please.
Siddhant, we can't hear you.
Okay, welcome all Red Team participants. I welcome all of you to comment in the chat, and my team members would also be responding during the briefing. This is one of our highest participation yet. I will start with the timeline for the exercise. So Critical Infrastructure Security Showdown, or CISS, occurs in 2 stages this time. So the first stage, which we have already begun as of this briefing, commences today. And some of you have already joined the Discord channel or the Discord server for the CISS exercise for 2025. If you haven't done so, please do so as soon as possible. And the purpose of this briefing is to also let you know about some of the other urgent tasks to be completed before the actual stage 1 begins on 29th of July. So 29th of July, 9 a.m. Singapore time is when we'll open the access to both CTFD, which is our CTF platform, as well as the servers, which you will use to access the different infrastructures available. So this is a 48-hour exercise. So it will start on 29th of July, 9 a.m. and it will end on 31st of July, 8:59 a.m. or exactly 48 hours from its beginning, all Singapore time. This 48-hour period is to make sure that everyone participating from different time zones is able to meaningfully go through all the documentation. They can get enough time to solve all the questions and understand each of these infrastructures properly, because we understand that some of these infrastructures might be new for people coming in from different backgrounds. So even if you are an expert in water systems, there will be systems other than water which you will be tested on. So 48 hours is considered to be enough to go through all the documentation and solve all the questions properly. And then 1 week, then we'll be announcing the results within the week following that. And based on that, we'll be selecting the top 10 teams. And after that, we'll be communicating with the top 10 teams about the finals briefing, which will happen on 29th of August, followed by a network familiarization where you will be given access temporarily to the plant network. And this will be real physical critical infrastructure that you will be given access to. So we'll be working with each of the top 10 teams to get access to the networks for a brief amount of time. And then the actual exercise itself will occur in the week of 29 September to 3rd of October. And that will be the CISS finals. So this briefing is about stage 1. So I'll keep all of my following slides focused on stage 1. To talk about the overall structure of the exercise, top 3 red teams have both cash prizes as well as a medal coin, which includes the emblem and the logo for this year, which incorporates the different infrastructure that we will be using. And if you are observing carefully, the theme is return to control. And we are in the last installment of the Lord of the Rings theme that we have been following for the last 2 CISS since 2023. So this time around, we are in the 3rd and final installment of the series, which is the Return of the King. And the scenario for the exercise, which will be very important for all of you to understand, because all of the questions and the storyline is phrased in this universe. The story is completely set in the Lord of the Rings universe, and the specific scenario is the Siege of Minas Tirith. So all of you are members of the Red Guard, which means you will be performing offensive security measures to secure these critical infrastructure against enemy infiltration and sabotage that has happened. The fate of Gondor and all of Middle-earth rests on your cyber skills as well as your OT skills. So the whole idea of this is to understand all the different infrastructures set in this universe, and you have to protect this universe against different attacks. So I will briefly talk about the 5 different infrastructures which are specifically introduced this time in CISS. The first of them is a water treatment system called the Aqueduct of Mindaloin. The second is a gas pipeline system called the Fire Channels of Anorian. The third is a power grid called the Luminous Spire. The fourth is a maritime shipboard system, which is called the Fleet of Pelargir. And finally, we also have a 5G system called the Palantir Network. And these comprise of all the questions that you will be introduced to in the exercise. We will be providing detailed documentation and intel drops after the start of the exercise on the 29th, but I'll just briefly talk about what these different infrastructures entail. So the idea of sharing this during this briefing is that you can get about a week of time to explore different protocols used by these infrastructures, but the specific details of how these infrastructures work and how the processes between different components in these infrastructures work will be shared as part of the intel drop close to the exercise, as soon as the exercise begins. So the aqueduct of Mindelein can be compared to a modern day water treatment plant. So you can compare it to any modern day water treatment plant. And if you are going to conduct some research in the next week, you can look up the different stages of a modern water treatment plant, the protocols they use, and that might be helpful in solving the questions for this particular plant. The second is a gas pipeline, and this gas pipeline is based on realistic, real-world gas pipelines which transport compressed gas across large distances, and they are used as feeders to different power plants. And the third infrastructure, like I said, is the power source or the power grid. So this includes a power generation grid as well as a power distribution grid. So the purpose of sharing again is to give you enough hints for the following week so that you can understand different protocols which are commonly used in these infrastructures, and maybe like it would be the same protocols that would be used in these infrastructures as soon as the exercise begins. And this time around, we are introducing a maritime system in stage 1, and we'll also be looking at exploring like how red teams can play with an actual maritime system in the finals, which will be one of the first times we will be doing it in CISS. So this time, like if you're looking at maritime systems, you can try to understand what protocols are popularly used in navigation and control, and maybe that will help you with solving questions regarding the maritime shipboard system. And finally, we are also introducing a 5G communication system this time around. And like if you read up on the popular 5G protocols, like you will have an easier time following along with the questions. So that's all that I wanted to share about the infrastructures. Now I'll briefly talk about the format. So like I said, the exercise begins on 29th of July, 9 a.m. Singapore time. We have a maximum of 8 persons per team, and we will be sharing detailed information about how you can gain access to the network, which will help you connect to the different infrastructures. It is a Jeopardy style CTF based on the Lord of the Rings format. We will be using CTFD as the platform, and I've shared the URL for this. And in the following days, we will also be sharing how you can register for this particular CTFD platform and how you can join as a team. And like for all this communication, we'll be doing it via Discord. So please make sure that you are already like connected with your team members to the Discord server for this CTF. If you are not, the Discord link has been shared with you via email. So we highly encourage you to join it as soon as possible. Finally, the scoring will be done by the number of points. And if in case there's a tie, the ties will be broken by the time taken to solve different challenges. And there will be negative marking in the sense that if I'll be talking about how many attempts are allowed per question. And finally, we'll be subtracting the number of attempts taken overall per team to calculate the final score. So we want to reward precise and efficient red teams who try to solve the questions in as little attempts as possible. And to set some ground rules and rules of engagement, we like highly recommend fair play, which means that no cheating in terms of sharing flags, brute forcing answers, or seeking outside help beyond general research using internet. So we want to keep it fair and challenging for everyone. If we observe any suspicious activity, We will be investigating it, and we may request a video conference to review your progress in case we suspect any suspicious activity. If you encounter any issues on the CTFD platform, please contact us through the ticketing system on Discord, which we will be talking about in a bit. The flag format for each of the questions is provided with each question, and the general flag format is CISS 25 followed by curly brackets, and followed by a specific flag for each question, and closed by curly brackets. So you have to enter this entire string in CTFD to be able to answer the questions. And as a final rule of engagement, cheating will result in disqualification. One of the important platforms which you will use to access is being provided by NCL, or the National Cybersecurity Lab, which is our sibling lab in Singapore. So each red team has access to 4 sources of information and 4 different platforms to keep track of. One is the iTrust CISS 2025 landing site, which Mark has already shared with you over email. This will be used for all info and briefings. Next is the CTFD platform, which will have access to all the questions, all the assets, which can include packet captures, different sorts of files, and the scoreboard. We have a Discord server, which has already been shared with you. And the new platform which I want to introduce in this briefing is the NCL cloud environment, which you will be accessing in order to access all the different critical infrastructures. So for registering on the CTFD platform, we will be sharing the registration code on Discord tomorrow. So we want to do this to encourage that all of you are on Discord already. So if you are not on Discord, please join as soon as possible. We encourage you to create or join a team on CTFD, and we suggest that you complete this by 25 July or Friday, so that you will be ready for the CTF next week. On Tuesday, precisely at 9 a.m. Singapore time, all the challenges on the platform will be unlocked for you to begin solving. To give you just a brief introduction about the different challenge types, there will be multiple choice questions as one type of questions. We allow a maximum of 1 attempt to prevent any sort of brute forcing. And each question is 100 points each. And the questions will primarily be testing OT specific knowledge. So even if a question involves some IT skills, it will be eventually testing your OT specific knowledge. So in case you want to brush up on your OT skills, this 1 week might prove very handy for that. For each question, you will see a challenge name, the points awarded upon correct flag submission, the challenge description, and a submit button to submit your answer or the chosen flag. So the second type of question in a Jeopardy style CTF is a standard question, which has different number of points depending on the difficulty level and the uniqueness of the question. A maximum of 10 attempts is allowed for these standard questions, depending on the difficulty level. And we want to encourage as few attempts as possible, so that we can reward you with that in the final calculation of the score. Overall failed attempts will be subtracted from your score to get the final score. And these questions may involve hands-on activity with associated assets, which might be files attached to the question or files provided as a link to a different drive link, or it can be involving a VM, which you need to access using the connection information provided with the question. So each question can provide a connection info, which will help you connect to the relevant like IP address to solve the question. It can involve a hint, which you can unlock for a different number of points, and it will cost you points in case you need to unlock hints. Question may be associated with a file to download. And finally, it will also include a flag, and we will be providing you the flag format for different questions. But the general flag is what I have already shared, which is CISS 25 followed by curly brackets with the specific text in between the curly brackets. For all communication during the 48 hours and the week leading up to the stage 1 exercise, we'll use Discord for communication. For important reminders, we will be using email, but please make sure that you are already on Discord and you have your team names fixed as a suffix to your server nickname. For more Discord details, I'll hand over to my colleague Anand, who can tell us more about how the Discord server is set up and how the ticketing system will work. So I'll hand it over to Anand.
Thank you, Sid. So once again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thanks everyone for joining us. So some of you may already be acquainted with me. So my handle would be iTrust Gimli. I believe some of you have raised tickets, so thank you for those. And as Sid mentioned, please get your teammates to join Discord for communications. And as mentioned, team name should be denoted clearly in addition to your server nickname. Now, the format does not matter as long as you have standardized it with your teams and they are compliant with Discord's rules. It should be fine. Now, there have been some on the chat who have raised the issue of not having the Discord link. So we are actively working on that at the moment. So we apologize for the inconvenience caused, but not to worry, we will settle this as soon as possible. Now, the main purpose of the Discord channel would be for communications amongst members, but more importantly, it would be to raise issues to the admins as and when you face a problem. So please feel free to raise the tickets, and to do so, you would have access to the ticketing system on Discord. So all teams should be able to see this. Just a moment. So under the category CTF tools, you should be able to see a ticketing system. And there is also another channel, which is called support. So apologies, I believe you should be able to see the screen right now. So please use the ticketing system. And then you should also have another channel, which is support. So you can use these channels to, of course, contact the admins and address any issue that you may want to address or that you may want to inquire about. And of course, this is how a standard ticket looks like. One final reminder, there has been an announcement that was made some days back. So it's entitled Red Team Name Decree. Now, I would really appreciate if all team leads could get your team members to join the Discord links. And please standardize your team names and nicknames accordingly before 2359 hours Singapore time. So that would be GMT +8. The deadline would be tomorrow. And as mentioned in the announcement, those who do not comply by this date will be removed from the server until their name is corrected. But otherwise, thank you for your cooperation, and we are really excited to have you this year. And all the best to all the red teams. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anand. We will continue with the connection details for how you can connect to the NCL VMs, which will be provided. So the connection access credentials will only be provided briefly before the exercise begins at 9 a.m. On 29th of July. But I'll briefly talk about the architecture of how you will be accessing the eventual environment. So as a red team, you will be given access to a gateway in NCL, and we'll provide the specific details again on Discord and also via email, before the exercise. So you can expect a message from us on both Discord and email about 15 minutes before the exercise, so that you can start familiarizing yourself with the environment and make sure that you are connected. From this gateway, you will be jumping to a TX VM or a transaction VM. And this will be a Kali machine with basic tools installed. And with this VM, you will have access to the different infrastructure. So all the connection info that you see for different infrastructure in the standard questions, you can access them through the transaction VM. So as soon as you get access, if you face any connection issues, feel free to raise a ticket once you have gone through all the connection steps. So I'll just briefly tell you about the tools that you can set up already in the preparation for the actual day itself. So from the command line, you can use 2 different SSH commands, and the exact SSH commands may differ on the day itself, but we are basically using a jump host. And if any one of you has used a jump host before, we'll use a similar setup. We'll have 2 different SSH commands in order to get you to the eventual transaction VM. And from the transaction VM, you can try to access the environment based on the question itself. If you use Windows, we recommend you to use MobiXterm because it lets you configure these details as part of the software itself. And I'll show you the screenshots for that in the next slides. If you're using Mac or Linux, we recommend you to use Royal TSX. And you're free to use any other SSH clients or native terminals. We are just sharing this as recommended tools. You can set the jump host settings in the network settings of your respective tool, and the credentials will be shared briefly before the actual exercise. For each team, we'll be providing a specific credential, and we'll be giving you a specific command to access the transaction VM as well. So all of these details will be shared on the day of 29 July. So please be ready with your Discord server setup and your CTFD setup, as well as check your emails on that day itself. For the connection details, if you are new to MobiXterm, you can configure the details under these windows. You can click on session, and under session settings, you can click on SSH and network settings. And that way you can configure the different gateway hosts and usernames. And similarly, with different tools, you can find this respective window and configure accordingly. If you have any connection issues on the day, like this, which can look like network error or connection timed out, we recommend that you create a Discord ticket immediately, and we will look at your issue and try to resolve it. So in summary, we want you to join the Discord as soon as possible, add your team name and your server nickname, and then register on CTFD using the registration code which we will be sharing. We want you to create and join a team with a password at CISS2025.ctfd.io. On Tuesday, 29 July, all teams will be given access to test out their connection. All the challenges will be open at 0900 hours. And finally, top 10 teams will be qualifying for finals. And in case there are multiple teams participating from the same organization, we will allow a maximum of 1 team per organization to qualify for the finals. So that's pretty much it. Now we can surface any questions that you might have. And I'll be sharing the FAQ slides in case these cover some of your frequently asked questions.
Sid, you can also refer to the chat box for some existing questions.
Okay, I'll try to go from the latest question and make my way back. So one of the questions is, can we not use our own Kali Linux? So okay, so I think many people have a similar sort of a query. So you can use whichever OS you want as your host OS. From that host OS, if you are able to access the environment using the jump host, you can do that. We do provide a Kali environment for directly providing you access to the different environments. So if you want to use your own Kali VMs or any other VMs, you can do that to like get access to the jump host, and from jump host route your traffic through the transaction VM. So going back, VMs with GUI. So yes, so this will be a Kali VM with GUI. In case you're facing lag with the GUI, we encourage you to like stick to the command line, because if there's any network latency, we want you to be able to access the eventual environment in any case. And in case a VM has GUI, we do like have X11 forwarding for that. Bidirectional, and I'll look at the other two queries which you have. Bidirectional copy paste allowed from the VMs. I'll check on these two queries and like respond in Discord. So bidirectional copy paste as well as apt installs. I'll get back for both of these queries on the Discord server. So thank you for asking that question. Yeah, I think that answers all of the questions in the chat. Yeah, I'm just sharing the FAQ slides in case it helps clarify any further questions that you may have. Okay, we have new messages. So marks are reduced for, yes, we can share these slides later. We'll be sharing it as a PDF so that you can refer to all the infrastructures that are being used and go through the FAQs. And then marks are reduced for larger traffic volume generated. So in case, so of course the questions that we have may not require you to generate large amounts of traffic, but for this particular stage 1 exercise, we do not reduce any marks for larger traffic volume generated. One of the consequences of generating a lot of traffic is that it will slow down your own progress in case you're trying to access a VM or launch an attack. But we encourage you to be precise in your enumeration as well as like attacks if the question includes an attack. Okay. Okay, all the other questions, let me check if I'm missing out on any question. Do the Kali VMs provided you have specific software? So the Kali VMs come with the standard software that each Kali installation comes with. In case you want to use your own tools, like you might have to find a way to use it through your host machine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the transaction VMs that we have access to the internet. So in case you need to download any specific tools, you can do that. But the host Kali machine should be sufficient enough for you to complete the exercise without any new tools. I think that's all. So we don't have any more questions. We can wrap up now. If you have any further questions, please create a Discord ticket. And for the 2 questions which I'll follow up on, I'll respond as a Discord message.
Can we just
Thank you
wait
so
a few
much.
more minutes in case there are still others who want to ask the questions?
Yes.
Yeah. At this point in time, we also want to apologize. Thanks to the large number of teams that have joined this year, which is in itself a record. Unfortunately, our Zoom Pro account only allow up to 100 people to join the meeting room, and we received some feedback that there are certain members, of which could be your friends, who were not able to join the meeting room because we reached a cap of 100 members. So we apologize for that. But like I've already said in the chat, the briefing slides and video will be shared by this Friday, and it can be shared to your team members. And as Siddhan also said, we will constantly monitor the Discord channel, so do raise your questions there prior to stage 1. Thank you. Okay, last call for questions. If not, thank you for participating. Thank you, Sid, for the briefing as well. And okay, so we will wish you a good day ahead or a good evening ahead. I see some sleepy faces, so thanks for either staying on late or waking up early to attend this briefing. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. All the best.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.